have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the Zoom electronic meeting platform. And the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting by the Zoom platform or by telephone. All necessary access information has been made available in the House calendar and through the electronic calendar on the General Court website. The notice for this meeting complies with House rules and RSA 91-. Who has a problem accessing the meeting should call 271-3600 or email hcs@ledge.state.nh.us. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. I want to introduce the staff that are assisting us this morning. Jennifer Ford is our committee researcher. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there's anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law.
Representative Cordelli.
Here in the committee room.
Representative Bohm.
Here in the committee room.
Representative Allard.
Here in the committee room.
Representative Lakis.
Here at home in Hudson, New Hampshire, my husband may walk through.
Representative Moffett.
In the committee room with 8 others.
Representative Hobson.
Here in the committee room in Concord.
Representative Andrus.
Here, home alone in Salisbury.
Representative Ford.
Alone in my office in Chester.
Representative Leon.
Here in the committee room.
Representative Sodi.
Here in the committee room.
Representative Myler.
Here in Kentucky in my home office.
Representative Luno.
Here.
Representative Shaw here in the committee room. Representative Cornell.
Here, home alone in Manchester.
Representative Tanner.
Here in Georges Mills, Sunapee with my rescue dog Raven, who may bark.
Representative Ellison.
Here in Concord, I'm having a new roof put on my house today. So I'm going to stay on mute as much as possible. I already have a pounding headache after an hour of this.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Maybe a couple people walking through during the session.
Representative Mullen. She's tested.
Yeah.
Representative Flake
I am here. I'm in my office in Bow, New Hampshire.
and Representative Woodcock.
Here in Center Conway, New Hampshire with my dog who definitely will bark.
Representative West.
And I'm here in the LOB.
I have to commend this committee for attendance, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
We have very good attendance.
Well, thank you to everybody for that. Going on here, we have 4 bills on the docket today. We have 202, 203, 388, and 255. Those are to be exact. Next Thursday, we also have 4 bills that are coming up to be heard that coming over from the Senate. I believe we also have another bill which has been sent to us, so we won't, that will be a later item though. I would encourage everybody to be looking at those bills for Thursday, look them over. If we're able to get through some of the hearings on those, we may get in, we most likely will try to exact some. The last bill which we have set for on Thursday is a finance bill, or a bill which deals with funding of schools. We may want to really look at that seriously and get it moving. It looks back at the previous year for setting the enrollment for the funding of the next year, rather than using the enrollment of the pandemic year we're in right now. Serious issue. So look that over, please. It would be wise that if we can move some of that along in terms of, I know contracts our districts are in the process this spring of making contracts with personnel. They're knowing or understanding where, how the budget's going to be premised. It would be helpful to them. So I hope we can address some of that on Thursday.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, on Senate Bill 135, I do plan on introducing 2 amendments on that during the hearing. particularly because they're relevant to the work that we did last session with respect to the equitable fiscal disparity and free and reduced price lunch grants. And I think that will help us move the school funding towards more like what we saw in FY21, which closes the gap from where this bill leaves it.
Okay, if you have those amendments prepared, Representative Luno, could you distribute those? No.
Absolutely, I'll get those to you as soon as I have them.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so with that,
Mr. Chair, personal privilege, please.
go ahead.
Yeah, I just, before we get started here, I'd just like to make a note that today is the golden anniversary of the passage of the 26th Amendment. Now, since we all know about the amendments of the U.S. Constitution, we know that that's the 18-year-old vote. And 50 years ago, I was involved in the creation of the Youth Franchise Coalition in Washington, D.C., which was the group that basically brought together various organizations that helped lay the foundation for the passage of this particular piece of legislation. So I'm proud of that legacy, and I just wanted to share that with the committee because I think it was there's only 2 constitutional amendments that emanated from the grassroots. That was the 19th Amendment, which was the woman suffrage, and the youth vote, which was the 26th Amendment. So I just wanted to make that and celebrate that with the committee today.
Kudos, Mel.
Thank you very much, Mel. Does anybody know the colors of the women's suffrage?
I think
What were the colors?
white, purple, and gold.
Purple and yellow.
Purple and gold.
Yep, and white.
Yep. Okay, now we've got our important facts done, and I appreciate it all. It's good to know that if you're going to be in the military at age 18, you can vote.
Right. Also, I'm not sure the committee's aware of it or not, but the Conval decision was rendered today, and it was basically remanded back to the original court, which means they start all over again. And I think, Rick, much of the work that we worked on the School Funding Commission last summer will become foundational to that particular case as it goes forward.
Yeah, only the attorneys know.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to go on into our job for today, where the first bill we're going to address is the 202 bill. So we can turn the pages to 202. Okay, I recognize Representative Leon for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to move House Bill 202 and expedient to legislate.
And Representative Hobson.
Second that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to ITL HB 202. Representative Leon, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, please. Thank you, Mr.
You're
Chair.
welcome.
This is a very well-meaning bill. However, we're actually in luck. We have an email that came from, that was forwarded by Jennifer Kaur at 9:50 this morning with information from the Department of Education. There's already an RSA 189-11A, which prohibits the public identification or stigmatization of students who cannot pay for a meal or who owe a debt. The prohibition, the issue of prohibiting a child who cannot pay for a meal or who owes a meal debt from doing chores or other work to pay for meals, unless chores or other work are required for all students, are already prohibited by USDA regulatory 4330-2, so that's already taken care of. Then as far as communicating anything to the parents instead of the children is also covered in federal guidelines. And if we look at this, there have not been any issues. There's already clear language on that communication in the CFR and also in some of the other rules that are there. This is something that definitely is near and dear to my heart as somebody who was a reduced lunch kid. And I'm very happy to know that this is already in there. And if there's any problems, we just need to make sure that they are addressed with these existing regulations.
Representative Hobson, do you have anything to add?
No, I would just thank Erica for all of her hard work on that opening. And I agree, thank you.
So it's open to discussion at this time from the committee. Representative Myler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We had a long discussion around this, and Representative Mullen did have a lengthy conversation with the department about this, and basically found the information that was submitted to us this morning, and we will be supporting the ITL motion.
Yeah, I was going to ask the question. I gave this to Jennifer Ford to get out to folks this morning. So did you receive a copy of this report?
Yes.
Thank you. Is there, well, so we don't have Representative Mullen back yet, but you're saying you're in support of it. So I guess that with that, is she available out there?
I actually can still, I have the TV on YouTube in the other room and I can actually still hear her testifying.
Yeah, she's still testifying.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I'd like to have everybody present. I hate to see somebody not able to vote on something if they're engaged with another committee due to COVID. There's so much, Representative Myler, you're the ranking representative on the Democratic side here.
I would say go ahead with the vote.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, can you please call the vote, please?
Yes, this is ITL on House Bill 202. Representative Cordelli?
Yes.
Representative Bohm?
Yes.
Representative Allard?
Yes.
Representative Lakis?
Yes.
Representative Moffett?
Yes.
Representative Hobson?
Yes.
Representative Andrus?
Yes.
Representative Ford?
Yes.
Representative Leon?
Yes.
Representative Sodi?
Yes.
Representative Myler?
Yes.
Representative Luno?
Yes.
Representative Shaw, yes. Representative Cornell?
Yes, and can I just say, I just got a text from Representative Mullen that she'll be here in a minute.
Doesn't matter.
I'll call her last.
Okay.
Representative Tanner?
Yes.
Representative Ellison?
Yes.
Representative Lay?
Yes.
Representative Woodcock?
Yes.
Representative Mullen, are you there yet?
Too bad.
Oh,
Oh, here she
There
is.
she is.
Yes, yay!
You vote ITL on 202?
Unmute.
I heard her say
I
yes.
do, Representative Shaw, yes.
Thank you. And Representative Black?
Yes.
20-0.
20-0.
Consent?
Good with consent?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was easy.
That was very easy. A lot easier than that to Senate, huh?
Well, I apologize, Mr. Chair, for my tardiness, but I was the last bill. So once we started in, there was no turning back.
Well, I see you were a little late because we had another representative here who took a lot of time on his bill.
Excellent.
Thank you, Representative Moffett.
Thank you, Representative Moffett.
C'est la vie, c'est la guerre.
Whatever that means. Okay, we're going to go on.
Like so goes for.
Okay, that's very good. 203. This is a bill establishing a committee to study school meal programs in New Hampshire's public schools and non-sectarian schools that accept public funds. Representative Allard for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that House Bill 203 be ITL.
I'll second.
Representative Leon seconds it. Representative Allard, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just briefly, school meals programs have been instituted and evolving since the 1930s in New Hampshire. They have been studied 6 ways to Sunday, and this particular bill, in light of 202 being ITL, this bill becomes superfluous. So rather than add to the great volume of superfluous bills in the state of New Hampshire, I would suggest we withdraw this.
Representative Leon, do you have anything to add?
No, I think that that's well covered. Thank you.
Any committee discussion? Representative Mullen.
I'll jump right in here. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Poor Sherry White, I'm sure that she has had enough of House education, because I understand that Representative Leon spent some time with her gathering information about school lunches, perhaps. I don't know, but I spent an hour with her last week. And while I concur that we ITL'd the previous bill because the 3 points that Representative Horgan needed to make had already been made, my conversation with Sherry White really revealed the fact that we still have unanswered questions about the difference between the federal regulations, the state level regulations, and the local regulations. It seems to me that in my discussion with her, we talked about the fact that local school boards develop their own lunch charging policies and that they vary from school to school. She indicated to me that she has some private schools that do in fact participate in the USDA program, and some public schools that don't, that have privatized their programs. And also that there are differences in regulation between federal, state, and local statutes. So I would like to recommend that we go ahead with the study committee, if for no other reason than to develop a list of specific questions to be answered. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel, but we had a lot of discussion the last time around about no children going hungry. And my apologies again for not being here for the discussion on 202, but the federal regulations say that we only have to provide a safety net K through 3, grades K through 3. And there are a lot of kids, grades 4 through 12, who may in fact need some sort of clarification or intervention on what happens if you're hungry at school and you're not a free and reduced lunch student. Because if you're a free and reduced lunch student, you're okay. But if you're not, then at the moment, middle school and high school kids don't get fed if their accounts are in arrears, if their local school board has that as the charging policy. So I will stop there and not talk for an hour, but say that I would encourage that we move forward with the study committee.
Further discussion? Representative Tanner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So I have 2 observations on this. One is that in Newport, there's a group who actually do backpack meals for the kids for weekends and school holidays and other times when they go without food. And there's also the issue that during this pandemic, schools have become the center for people to get food. And a lot of people have moved from being kind of on the edge to maybe being to the point where they now could qualify for free and reduced hot lunch. But I think that because of that, because we see, I mean, you see the overwhelming numbers of kids now getting lunches and actually being fed. I think it's something that as a state, we need to address, particularly with Representative Mullen's insight that the state regulations and the federal regulations and the local regulations, I think we need to come up with some directives, if not anything else. And I don't think it would be a major lift to have a committee on this to study it for next year. Thank you.
Is it possible for the Department of Education with Ms. White form a group over there to do exactly what you were just talking about, Representative Mullins?
I wish I could answer that question for you, Representative. I don't know. I certainly would be happy to participate in something like that, but I don't know what Ms. White's intention was. She did know that we had a study committee bill coming up.
Thank you. Go ahead, Representative Tanner.
Just, you know, if we had our committee, then certainly we would have Sherry White and people that could come in and give us information and give us some statistics on what is actually happening in New Hampshire. And I think that just adds one more check to why we should have a committee on this particular subject. Thank you.
My only question there was, do we need to have a legislative committee do that when the department has the capability of putting a group together to, review and discuss the pluses and the minuses associated with the program? Further, Representative Leon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Right now, as an economist, I value data, and I'm sure that our others on this committee do as well. Right now, our data wouldn't be very good because we have waivers where everybody's getting the free lunches. I know that this seems like a very intriguing area, but right now, this isn't going to be comparable to what happens on the other side of this pandemic. So I think asking some questions and just trying to get a better understanding makes sense. But right now, having a committee to review what's happening when we're in the middle of an unprecedented shift isn't going to inform laws that we would need going forward.
Further discussion? Representative Tanner, is your hand still up, or is that it's down? Okay, thank you. Further questions from the discussion? Not seeing any. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
This is ITL on. Oh, sorry, I have the wrong sheet. ITL on House Bill 203. Representative Cordelli.
Yes.
Representative Bohm.
Yes.
Representative Allard.
Yes.
Representative Lakis.
Yes.
Representative Moffett.
Yes.
Representative Hobson.
Yes.
Representative Andrus.
Yes.
Representative Ford.
Yes.
Representative Oliver, Representative Leon.
Yes.
Representative Sodi.
Yes.
Representative Myler.
No.
Representative Luna.
No.
Representative Shaw, yes. Representative Cornell.
No.
Representative Tanner.
No.
Representative Ellison.
No.
Representative Mullen.
No.
Representative Blake.
No.
Representative Woodcock.
No.
Representative Ladd.
Yes.
12-8.
Okay.
There will be a minority report, and Representative Mullen will do that one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next bill we're going to move into, and I'd like to remind people that are writing minority and majority reports, please get those in. We're trying to get these done now as quickly as we can for Lindsay to get into the upcoming session on the 7th, 8th, and the 9th. Okay, going to the next bill, 388. That's the Manifest Education Hardship Bill. Representative Cordelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to move ought to pass on House Bill 388 and also offer amendment 0923H.
Representative Allard, do you have a second?
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Yes, I second.
The motion.
I second the motion. Yes. sorry.
Thank you very much. So we have a motion on the table, ought to pass and have offered in front of us amendment 0932H on manifest education hardship. Representative Cordelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment 0923 replaces all in the bill after the enactment clause and clarifies issues that we had originally with the language in the original bill. And so if you refer to the amendment, basically it does several things. In addition to the best interest of the child provisions, as well as the manifest education hardship provisions, it adds the ability for a student to transfer to a public school, public academy, or an approved private school. And you'll see that throughout the amended bill. In addition, on page 2, at the top, lines 4 through 7, you'll see that if the student is reassigned to a private school, that school may charge tuition to the parent or may enter into an agreement for tuition with the sending school district. And that is the same language that is found in the existing statute, which is, should be on page 3, lines 22, it should be 32 to 35. Proceeding on, you'll see several more areas where we added the approved private school. And on page 4, on lines 9 through 13, or really that whole section D, in current statute, it specifies that this school district or public academy may deny enrollment of a non-resident pupil, but cannot base that decision on disability of a child. So we added in there that if a parent believes that the denial was based on disability, we refer to several provisions for appeal that the department, to the state board that the parent would have, as well as their ability to file a complaint with the Human Rights Commission, both under existing statute. Going on page 4, also you'll see several places where we remove non-sectarian language in accordance with the Espinoza decision. And again, on the last page, page 5, we added in the same ability for the charging of tuition or a tuition agreement with the sending school district. This is in relation to a manifest education hardship case, as opposed to the previous place where we added it for the best interests of the student section. So that's basically what the amendment does, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Representative Cordelli. Representative Howard, do you have anything to add to that?
No, Mr. Chairman, I do not.
Thank you. Open to discussion, Representative Myler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have major issues with this. First of all, we spent significant amount of time last session dealing with the current outline for manifest hardship. We had a subcommittee, we worked with the School Boards Association, and we outlined that. That was just last year. So this this bill hasn't really had a chance to even be implemented this year. So I first question is seriousness of radically changing this bill after we had a lot of time, a lot of conversation to form the current piece of statute that we have. Then, Mr. Chairman, I've got a major concern is because the initial proposal cited 193:2-A. This bill refers to 93:3. So it changes the initial presentation of this bill. And I seriously question whether this amendment is appropriate because of its change, not only in the change in the cited statute, but in the content of this amendment. And I would like to request the clerk to clarify whether or not this is germane, this bill is germane, this amendment is germane to the initial bill as proposed. Because it seems to me that it's a major change and that frankly, a hearing should be conducted on this amendment before this committee acts. So I would like to have the clerk give a ruling on exactly the status of this amendment as it relates to its germaneness, 1, and 2, whether or not the content of this bill would demand a public hearing on it before we can conclude it in executive session. So I'd like that request to be dealt with the clerk first before we go forward, Mr. Chair.
Further discussion?
Sure.
Representative Luno.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chair. I concur with everything Representative Myler just said. I think when we heard the bill back on March 4th, it was really clear that the language that the bill was based on was not currently in statute at all and had no connection with the substantial work that this committee did 2 years ago with respect to manifest educational hardship. And then further, I think when you take a look at some of the changes that have now been suggested in the amendment, finally based on the current statute, so that's a huge improvement. I'm not denying that at least we're starting with current statute, but the changes, for example, on page 4 of the amendment, lines 9 through 13. That was never even contemplated in the original bill, and now you're actually holding non-resident public school districts accountable for decisions affecting intake of students from outside of their district. I mean, we had no hearing on this. I mean, this affects every school district in the state in their decision-making capacity to enroll out-of-district students. I mean, I think this is such an enormous change that it certainly deserves a public hearing. And if there's no deadline or timeline on the bill that prohibits it from necessarily having to exec it or requires it to be exec today, then I would suggest that we open the door, maybe put it on a subsequent week for a full public hearing.
Representative Cordelli.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just point out that the section previously just mentioned on page 4, D, it is current statute that the decision of a school district to deny enrollment cannot be based on disability of a child. That's current statute.
Correct. Line 6 through 9.
Right, excuse me. So all we are doing is adding that the parent has the ability to appeal that decision, which again is in current statute, and filing a complaint with the Commission for Human Rights, which is also in statute, is an option for the parent.
So are you suggesting that just because all you're doing is adding stuff to existing statute, that transparency goes out the window and public input goes right out the window?
I'm not sure what is intended by public input goes out the window.
Well, when you're just dismissing something as being innocuous, it's just an addition to current statute, we don't need to take any public input. I think that's a total breakdown of the legislative process, and denies Granite Staters their right to weigh in on proposed changes to law.
Well, if I might, go ahead. All we are doing is transparency in providing parents with what is in current statute with their abilities under law.
Yeah, I think you're arguing it on the merits, and I think that's fine, Glenn. I'm arguing the process, which I think is about as opaque and does not allow public participation, and I think it's reprehensible.
Representative Bowman, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to clarify something. 193-2, which originally referenced was probably a bad reference because it doesn't exist and was repealed in 1990. So adding a 2A, there isn't a 2. So that was probably a mistake. 193.3 is the correct place to put it. So, and in an argument with what was said before, 193.2 doesn't exist, then looks like, oh, well, that's probably messed up. It should have been in 193, and it was covered. The bill was covered. The RSA reference was just wrong. Thank you.
Further discussion, Representative Woodside. Woodcock.
That's Representative Woodcock.
Thank you. On the street again. Representative Woodcock.
Thank you. Because I'll send you an email so we can get that straight. Representative Lai, just a question. I have two questions. One for Representative Cordelli, specific to the language in the bill, but as a novice in the administrative process, I was waiting to hear from your response from the request from Representative Mila to send this to the clerk. I'm sure it's relevant, and you never get back to that. So I didn't know if you were denying his request or this goes to the clerk afterwards. I don't know what the process was.
Well, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm denying the request. I see it as germane.
Thank you. If I may, then moving to Representative Cordelli, on page 3, line 3 through 6, I was talking. It's actually line 4, where it says the district in which the student resides, and I realize this is current, shall pay the tuition for the district to the child, but in the start of the bill, it indicates that the tuition may be paid for by the parent in page 2 of that 456 area. The new language, H, says it may be charged to the parent in agreement with the school district or tuition. So I'm trying to decide find out if H is accurate, that the school district must pay. Why on page 2, lines 4, 5, and 6, does the parent get hit with that?
Go ahead, Representative Cordelli.
Yes, I believe on those two sections where we add the ability for the parent to pay or a payment agreement, those relate to approved private schools as opposed to public schools.
But just to follow up, Representative Ladd, if I may?
Yes, you may.
But isn't that contrary? Because on page 3, it says in current law that the district shall pay. It's not will or may, it says shall. And then you're saying on 4, 5, and 6, that's contrary to the current statute? Am I reading that wrong?
If I'm understanding correctly, On page 3, we added, if they're assigned to a public or public academy, then the tuition payment provisions apply in the lines of 5 and 6.
So so clear, it's my own mind, so the page 2, 4, 5, and 6 only is relevant if they're going to a private academy and not a public school? Is that what you mean?
Right, line 5, it says an approved private school.
Okay, so okay. So there's no ratio there, it's just, okay, that goes that way. All right, thank you for that correction or understanding.
Thank you very much. Further discussion? Representative Myler?
Yeah, so since you just now given notice to denying my request, am I correct? You're denying my request for the clerk to intervene on a clarification of the germaneness of this particular bill?
I'm saying that I'm saying that it's my opinion that this amendment, which deals with manifest education hardship as the introduced bill does, is germane.
I understand that's what you're saying. I'm asking for the clerk's opinion, not your opinion.
You may go to the clerk if you so desire.
Well, I would do that. That's what I'm requesting right now as we're discussing this.
If you feel it's not germane, you may go to the clerk. But I see it is germane. It's dealing with exactly the same topic that we had in the bill that was introduced. Yes, there was a error in the first bill in terms of reference to the proper statute. This is making that correction.
Well, I challenge the ruling of the chair.
Thank you. Further discussion.
Well, I challenge the ruling of the chair, and if I challenge the ruling of the chair, then you have to put that to a vote on that challenge.
I'm going to call a recess for a second here, a couple minutes, and I will open this up at 11:45. 11:45.
Okay, I hope you're going to check with the clerk, so thank you.
Mel, do you want?
Yes, and we will caucus too. Thank you.
I'll set it up. I'll send an email out.
Thank you.
See the clerk is.
Make sure you disconnect from this one.
Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and reconvene now. Everybody should be done their caucuses. Information for all those present. The clerk has ruled this amendment germane based upon the RSA and the topic. If a member of the committee wants to challenge the ruling of myself, you can do so, and we will then put that to a vote of the total committee.
I challenge the chair.
Thank you. Okay, so the challenge is the ruling of the chair to be upheld or rejected. So I'm saying, so the motion will be, shall the ruling be upheld?
May I speak to my challenge, Mr. Chair?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. I just, again, I don't mean to be an obstructionist here, but I do believe that with the work that we did last year on this bill, that included the school community and legislators, that this bill basically changes that substantively. And I believe that it needs a hearing. That's all I'm asking for, was to take some time to have a hearing on this, to really look at it, because it is a significant bill that that we have spent time on. And that's all I'm asking for, Rick, is to, I'm challenging the chair because I do believe that there needs to be a hearing on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go ahead, and this motion is going to be called, seeing that it's a motion, shall the ruling of the chair be upheld? Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Representative Cordelli.
Yes. No.
No.
Will be upheld. Shall the ruling be upheld? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's okay. Go get some coffee.
First time.
Representative Bohm,
Yes.
Representative Allard,
Yes.
Representative Lakis,
Yes.
Representative Moffett,
Yes.
Representative Hobson,
Yes.
Representative Andrus,
Yes.
Representative Ford,
Yes.
Representative Leon,
Yes.
Representative Sodi,
Yes.
Representative Myler,
No.
Representative Luno,
No.
Representative Shaw, to respect, yes. Representative Cornell,
No.
Representative Tanner,
No.
Representative Ellison,
No.
Representative Mullen,
No.
Representative Lay,
No.
Representative Woodcock,
No.
Representative Ladd,
Yes,
12-8.
12-8. The ruling is upheld.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, there's no more discussion
Mr. Chair,
on the amendment. Pardon me? Representative Tanner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm concerned because I know that the School Boards Association worked very diligently with this House Education Committee on this particular manifest hardship. And because we have this brand new amendment that replaces the bill, on the day that we're executing it, they have no voice in this. The public has no voice in this. And I'm extremely concerned. And so I would like a decision from you whether or not you would be willing to recess this bill and have a hearing at a later date that we could have people come in like Barrett Christina and actually talk about this amendment and how it's going to actually change what has been done and what's going on right now out in the public schools, because we have no idea after that bill was changed what went on out in the public schools. I think that's really important, and I would like a ruling from you whether you would actually entertain a motion to recess and have a hearing where we could get some input on this bill. Thank you.
We already have a motion on the floor. Representative Cordelli?
Thank you. I would just indicate that the original talked about adding private schools also, and that it did have a hearing. So that was the main focus of the amendment, as well as correcting the placement in statute. So I do not see the need for another public hearing.
Representative Woodcock?
Thank you, Representative Ladd. Just a point of information. This is a new idea, a new bill. In the last bill, we had 126 people sign into that bill. Of that, only 4 were in favor. 122 of the public were against the bill at a public hearing. So it seemed to me this is a pretty important bill. And since it's significantly different, we at least allow the public, since there's an overwhelming group against it, to bring back their ideas to make this better. I think it's unfair that you're doing this, Representative Ladd, at this time. I think a hearing is well, and I understand the procedural motion. You're sitting there, you can make a ruling to retain or recess this bill, so the public can get involved.
Further discussion? Representative Lakers?
Yes. I'm not sure why we're going on about this. The changes that are in this bill were presented before the public. They were put on the wrong wording of the bill. We acknowledged that it was a mistake. We fixed that mistake and put it on the current wording of the bill. So we didn't change the whole bill. We didn't change anything. The changes that are in here are the changes that were in there, plus a few things that were specifically put in. I mean, we had a public hearing, we listened to the comments, we made the amendment based on the comments. This is not new. This is based on the hearing that we had already. I don't know why we're going on about this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative. Further discussion? Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
This is on amendment 0923H, ought to pass. Representative Cordelli.
Yes.
Representative Bone.
Yes.
Representative Allard.
Yes.
Representative Lakis.
Yes.
Representative Moffett.
Yes.
Representative Hobson.
Yes.
Representative Andrus.
Yes.
Representative Ford.
Yes.
Representative Leon.
Yes.
Representative Sodi.
Yes.
Representative Myler.
No.
Representative Luno.
No.
Representative Shaw, no. Representative Cornell.
No.
Representative Tanner.
In the interest of transparency, no.
Representative Ellison.
No.
Representative Mullen.
No.
Representative Lake.
Nope.
Representative Woodcock.
No.
Representative Ladd.
Yes.
11-9.
Thank you. Representative Cordelli?
Thank you.
There will be a minority report, and Representative
And
Luno.
we aren't there yet. No.
Sorry, excuse me. Yes, right, excuse me.
Representative Cordelli.
Thank you. I would like to move ought to pass as amended with 0923H for House Bill 388.
And Representative Allard?
Yes, I second the motion.
Thank you very much. Further discussion? Representative Luno?
Yeah, I think this is a gross example of bad government action.
Didn't hear what he said.
Don't worry. Not seeing any more discussion. Representative Shaw, would you please call the roll?
Yes, this is ought to pass as amended on House Bill 388. Representative Platt. I'm sorry, Representative Cordelli.
Yes.
Representative Bone.
Yes.
Representative Allard.
Yes.
Representative Lakis.
Yes.
Representative Moffett.
Yes.
Representative Hobson.
Yes.
Representative Andrus.
Yes.
Representative Ford.
Yes.
Representative Leon.
Yes.
Representative Sodi.
Yes.
Representative Myler.
No,
Representative Luno.
No,
Representative Shaw, no. Representative Cornell.
No.
Representative Tanner.
Absolutely not.
Representative Ellison.
No.
Representative Mullen.
No.
Representative Lay.
Nope.
Representative Woodcock.
No.
Representative Platt.
Yes.
12-8.
No.
I'm sorry, 11-9.
You get used to that.
as I said earlier, Representative Luno will be doing the minority report on this.
Okay, thank you.
Pardon me, Mr. Chair. Did the clerk call the amendment as 12-8 as well? I feel like I wrote that.
11-9.
No,
Okay.
it was 11-9.
No, it was the challenge
She
of the
called that
chair.
11-9.
No, I got that. I just,
Amendment
I
was
want
also
to make sure I
11.
got the amendment.
Yeah, both were 11-9.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The last bill for today is HB 255. That's a bill that deals with limited liability businesses, for businesses and the university. I call upon Representative Bone for a motion.
I make a motion to retain.
And Representative Moffett.
I'll second that.
Representative Bone, do you have any discussion?
Yes, just briefly, there've been a number of bills in other committees and even in the Senate on the same issue. And trying to get more information from other states. The problem is New Hampshire's laws are a lot different than other states on suing and liability and whatnot. So I recommend that we retain this. Being reminded that all retained bills, I believe, still have to be out by November 1st. So this gives us some time to see if anything happens in New Hampshire and what, and come up with maybe language that agreed to by all school, BIA and others to what we should put in the bill.
Thank you. Further discussion, Representative Moffett, do you have anything?
Representative Bone put it very well.
Thank you. Further discussion? Not seeing any discussion. Representative Shaw, would you please call the roll?
Yes, this is ITO.
No,
Retain.
retain.
I'm sorry. This is a bad day. This is retained on House Bill 255. Representative Cordelli.
Yes.
Representative Bone.
Yes.
Representative Allard.
Yes.
Representative Lakis.
Yes.
Representative Moffett.
Yes.
Representative Hobson.
Yes.
Representative Andrus.
Yes.
Representative Ford.
Yes.
Representative Leon.
Yes.
Representative Sodi.
Yes.
Representative Myler.
No,
Representative Luno.
no,
Representative Shaw, yes. Representative Cornell.
No.
Representative Tanner.
No.
Representative Ellison.
No.
Representative Mullen.
No.
Representative Lay.
nope,
Representative Woodcock.
No.
Representative Ladd.
Yes.
This one is 12.
Oh, wait.
Okay, that bill shall be retained. That takes us through the 4 bills we had set up for today, and I believe it includes the 50 bills which we had assigned to this committee. That's good. So with that, we are done our business for today. Yes, Representative Cornell?
Do we have to write a blurb for a retained or no?
No.
No. So we're looking for the blurbs referencing 203 and 388. And 202, that's also, there's a majority report for that bill right there.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
who's doing the majority report on 202?
that would be the maker of the motion. I believe that's Representative Leon.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And for the 203, motion was made by
Al
Howard, and the minority report be by Representative Mullen. And for 388, the motion was made by Representative Cordelli. He does the majority report, and Representative Luno does the minority report. And the last one, there is no report. 255, a retained bill, does not need a report. Of the 50 bills, this committee retained 15.
We don't need one for 202, do we? Because we ITL'd that bill.
Yeah, but it's got to go in, it's a motion of ITL.
And it's on consent.
So.
It's on consent, so
And consent, but there's got to be a,
majority report, right?
yeah, a committee report, yes. So that is being done by Representative Leon.
Right, thank you.
You're welcome. So we are done those bills today. I also want to thank all of the committee members who actively participated on that subcommittee regarding the merger of the community college system and the university system. I do not know what's transpiring today with finance. They're dealing with the HB2 at 10:30, which has already gone by. So I'm anxious to see where they're going to go tomorrow with the decision to either move forward as presented or to move forward and slow down. We'll see. So thank you very much. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.